Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is where you are watching this. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you get a note whenever I put up a new video. I have been asked a lot about doing effects on vocals and whether it's a good idea to put effects on the actual vocal track itself or putting an effects bus on your vocal track. I prefer most of the time to use a bus. It seems like I have better control of the mix of the effect and just gives me better control of the effects themselves in a mix. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my Reaper screen, and I use Reaper exclusively. I don't use any other DAWs at this point in time. It's all inclusive and just a very killer DAW to use. Been using it for years. All right, so as you can see, I've got a vocal track here. Track number one is my vocal. Let's call it vocal. And you might notice something that happens when I type that. It turns a nice, beautiful yellow color. All right, so beyond doing effects, I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do to enhance and make your workflow a little bit easier. There is a plugin called Sws Extensions. Open up your web browser and type in SWS Extensions, and it should come up like that. Go to this website and donate whatever you choose, and then download typically a 64-bit x64. Download and install that software. I promise this will make your experience with Reaper a whole lot more exciting and fun. I do not use this to its fullest extent of its capabilities. However, when you do that, you'll notice that now you have an extensions. If you haven't already done that, go do that now and then come back to the video. This extensions, the auto color option that I have here, you go to your extensions, go to, let's see, auto color layout, blah, blah, blah. I've got some rules set up. So as you can see here, if I type voc or vocal, it puts up this color in here. And the way you do this, let's make a rule. Real quick thing. Let's just say we want, let's just say we call something hex, whatever hex might be. We go over to the color, set color, and we can set color to, let's do this greenish color here. We'll say, okay, we'll add a new track. Just double click down in the dark gray area. We'll type that, we'll title that hex, and boom, it turns that color. Very, very simple, very cool option. I'm going to remove this track. So get that SWS extensions pack for Reaper. Very useful tool. All right, so effects on vocals. All right, so typically, right now I'm speaking into my old Shure SM7, 1978 version, by the way. I like to add some effects going in. We have our input effects and our output effects. This effects button right here will be effects post-recording. These effects in, or input effects, will be documented and printed when you record your track. So these are a commitment. Once you set your effects on this input effects, you are committed to that effect being on your voice or guitar or whatever track that you have it armed for, or the effects placed on. So first thing I always do, I put an EQ on here. And this is the Reaper EQ effect. We'll make it nice and big so you can see it. And I always grab this low shelf or high pass filter, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a low shelf in this case. And I kill everything down here, all this stuff. And you can see right here what frequency you're killing. So you're removing all of this low end. There is no low end in the human voice. It's of usable information. It will create mud around the kick drum and maybe the bass guitar, some synth stuff. So as you can see, when I move this, my voice will get thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and bright and almost quieter, definitely. So let's remove some of that those bass frequencies. Now my voice has got a little bit of low end on it, and it sounds pretty good right in there. I'm going to be a little bit more safe. I'm going to go up to about 180 hertz right here. I'm watching this number. Now, the next thing I do is I take my bandwidth and I decrease it to boost a little bit of this low stuff in this area. That way, it kind of makes up for the missing pieces down in here, but it gives me a little bit more boom in my voice. And as you can see, my voice sounds pretty darn clear at this point. Now, the next thing I'll do is put a high pass filter on it because there's a bunch of crap up here that is just noisy room air, blah, blah, blah. And we'll drag it back and you'll notice that my voice gets a little nasally and maybe real bassy or mid-rangey. So we'll just remove stuff down to about 12 to 14, 15K. We'll do that. And then we'll do our bandwidth and kind of boost stuff a little bit. So we're making a bit more harsh EQ curve here. And I'm going to bring that over just a bit more, just to make sure I've got some good, got rid of all this guck up here. And you can see on the fader what's being removed. It's turning all this stuff down. This is where the original track is, and this is what it's hearing now. Now, the next thing I'll do is I'll go up here to about 2K and I'll boost just a little bit. And you're probably not hearing a lot. We can shrink this bandwidth down. EQ is really an important part. And as I move this EQ across the spectrum, you can really hear stuff changing. I get real bright, and maybe now I got a bit more low end on my voice. So sweeping that across there to find those sweet spots is a really neat thing to do to get your voice sounding correct in a mix. I like to go up around 2K and just boost a little bit, and I give it a pretty wide bandwidth, just a small boost. Makes S's and T's and stuff sound very clear. Right, so that is all in the ear of the beholder. It's what you choose to do with your EQ. Your voice may need a completely different EQ than this, and yes, I could go into get crazy with this. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it just like that. So I have an EQ now on my vocal track going in, and that will be recorded. It's important. Now, the next effect I will add to this, I add a compressor recomp. Boom, boom. This all come with Reaper, their stock factory plugins. This one I can't make bigger. That's right. I don't like that about this effect. But this will allow you to add some compression on the way in. And often I use the Modern Vocal plugin on my voice. And as you can see, it's already creating some noise reduction on that. My voice becomes a bit smoother. If I hit it hard, it stays home. If I'm very quiet, it does virtually nothing. That's a great preset, and you can adjust the threshold here to either compress nothing. At this point, the compressor is doing nothing. I can turn it off right here. It's off, and my voice sounds like it does. We turn it back on. My voice sounds like it does. Now we bring it down into this region where we're starting to see some noise reduction or compression on this, or volume leveling, whatever you want to call it, on this effect. I like running a compressor in this. It's not a limiter, but it will generally keep you from clipping in a lot of cases. And the preset is really great. It's set to a ratio of 5.2 to 1. We can get into that at another time with respect to the compression. So that's a very common setting that I use when recording vocals or voiceover type work. Okay, so we've got our main vocal track set up, and if we push record, I'm going to set my record mode to normal. If I push record right now, my voice will be recording, and you can see it, and it's in a nice little area in here, and the waveform looks good and safe. It's not real big and boomy, and if I was to add gain to my track, we could, let's see, channel 4. Well, we can't really gain it out. I have an SM7. It's a very safe microphone. But if I get right up on this thing, it's going to get loud. And if I yelled right now, it would clip that channel, right? So I've got some room for dynamic movements. If you want to get loud in a song, you can get loud. You can get right up on the eat the mic. You can even whisper, and it will hear it clearly. So there you go with the compressor on your vocal track, and it looks pretty good. We're going to delete that. All right, effects on a vocal. Here is your effects bus, or your effects chain on your vocal bus. I generally do not use effects in this area. Part of it's, I think, psychological, but the other part is that by putting it in a separate track, it allows me to control those effects much easier. So, having said that, let's go ahead and insert a new track. And we will call it, let's call it Effects Bus. You can spell bus with 2 S's or not. I just spell it with 1. And look, my track changed to my effects bus. And as you can see, now keeping stuff very organized inside my DAW in my workflow, it's very easy to identify specific tracks. If I want to put a bass in here, I just want to show you that coloring option makes stuff very easy to see and identify in your workflow. So that SWS Extensions, download it. All right, so here's our effects bus. Now, how do we get our vocal into the effects bus? Well, I typically have my mixer docked in another window. I've got multiple monitors that I use. So I put this area of the screen on another screen over here to my right, but that's my workflow. What we do, we have these 2 sections right here. We've got these little boxes that light up, and there's a white line in between them, okay? Up in this area of our channels is the effects area where we can add effects. Down below this white line is our send areas. So we can send the vocal track to our effects bus. And all I have to do is left click and drag that over. You'll notice a little like cable end, or the end of a 1/4-inch guitar cable shows up, and I drop it here, and it shows that now my voice, and you notice my voice just got louder because it's also being sent to this track, which is being amplified and sent to the master bus over here. So now I've got 2 of my voice in the same mix. Okay. Now, also, we want to look at this window that pops up here. I don't know, can we make this a little bit bigger? No, Reaper will not let me make this bigger. That would be awesome if you guys would do that. There's a lot of little things that Reaper is constantly doing to make their software better. Okay, let's go to pre-fader, post effects, right? I like to set mine up like that. Now, again, we've got 2 of our voice going into this channel right now. So the purpose of this channel is to make it so that we've got effects on this channel. So let's add an effect. We'll go up here to our effects area, and we'll go to reverbate. We'll add, actually, let's go to, let's use reverbate. And when I click on this, boom, now I have reverb on my voice. All right. Now I also have, this effect opens up, and I also have some of the dry signal on that channel. We don't want the dry signal. The dry signal is here on our main vocal. The reverb actually should be on this channel all by itself. So what we do, we remove the dry signal. And now, if I solo this track, now you're just hearing the reverb. None of my dry vocal is coming through that. Now if I move this back up to dry, 100%, and I set them both at 100%, I'm sorry. I just double click on these. If they're in a weird place, you can double click on it, it'll go back to 0. And again, we want to remove that dry signal so that all we have is just reverb on this channel. Okay. So now we've got our voice nice and dry over here. If I solo my voice, let's make sure we mute this reverb patch. Now my voice is nice and dry, and I can turn it up and down. I can make it louder. Yeah. We're going to set it back at 0. Double click on your volume fader and it'll go to 0. And I've got my reverb patch set up right here, and isn't that beautiful? And we'll add, we'll make it a little bit bigger, so we've got some long decay on that. Now also, you have some EQ available on the reverb, and I generally like to cut some low end out of it. This is the same as the high pass filter that we used on the EQ going in. I like to cut stuff up to, you know, around, I don't know, 2 to 300 hertz, even up as far as 400 hertz. So you can see the reverb sound gets a whole lot brighter and thin as we cut the low end out of it. We don't want to build up a bunch of low end on our vocal track. It can muddy up the vocal and make them virtually ununderstandable with your syllables and such. So again, you know, what I'm doing here is I've got this reverb kind of loud, and I'm doing that intentionally. It's not going to be that loud in the end, okay? So let's re-listen to our reverb, and that's a little, it's okay. We don't have any context to go with, and so, you know, I'm not singing with the song at this point, so I'm just EQing it to ear. And then I'm cutting some of the very top end off of that. And I usually run that down fairly far to 6K or even 5 to get rid of some of that top brightness and not have that clicky type of stuff going on. Okay. Again, this is just arbitrary. I'm just doing it to ear because I'm not going to say one setting at this point is the best. So we'll shut that reverb off so we don't have to listen to it. Now, what I'm going to do is insert a track in here that I can sing along with. Yeah, I'm going to be singing in this video. I have now I'm not the only one. I've got it titled as no vocal. I'm just going to type in a backing track here. Let's go backing track, and boom, it turns to a nice beautiful color, and we should be able to listen to this all by itself. We'll move this up a little bit. Okay, so there's our backing track. It's nice beautiful stereo, and if I open up that reverb, there we go. So now I've got a nice sounding, and we're gonna be dry at this point. Here we go. Got a beautiful acoustic guitar going on. Here we go. What if I could say to you, very dry, kind of boring, what you wanted, what you could do. Okay, pretty boring. My voice is just dry as a bone. Who sings like that? Almost nobody, right? Even Elvis didn't do it. Let's throw that reverb on there again. We'll move it forward a little bit and try that again with some reverb on it. We're going to make that reverb really wet. Okay. I need to put a marker up here where the vocals start. So here the acoustic guitar comes in. The voice is pretty wet right now, probably a little bit loud. What if I could say to you of what you wanted, what you could do? What if I could say to you? We've added some reverb, and while that was playing, I was sitting here mixing. You could see me mixing this reverb into the voice to give it some depth, to give it some reality, to make it sound like I was singing on a sound stage or a big room, to create that mood of liveness in a vocal. That is how you install a effects bus on your vocal. And if I solo this, my voice is just reverb. It's only reverb. There's none of my actual real voice coming through. If I dry that out, now I've got my real voice and the effect. Now I've got just the effect on that channel. Pretty cool little thing. So you make some adjustments in this. Now, let's take this one step further. And we're going to add a very common signal chain for a vocal effect, and that would be to have some delay and some reverb on that bus. So I'm going to add a delay. And because it's on our effects bus, I'm going to make it completely dry. And then I'm going to add some feedback so I get some taps. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is change this number to 1.98. You don't want your delays tapping directly in time with the music. Furthermore, you don't typically want your delay to run after a reverb. So, what we do is we grab this delay patch and we move it up above our reverb. Now, the delay is quite thick and quite loud, right? Check the controls. Check the controls down here. You got a volume for your delays, so you can actually turn the delay volume down a little bit and start to make it a little more pleasing, not intrusive. That's what I like to call it. At 0, the feedbacks are exactly the same volume as my original voice. And we even have the channel turned down here on the patch, and we can mute the effect altogether, right? But we can bring it, if we want, we can kind of walk it back in to get just a touch of effect on that, which is a very common way to have it. All right. Again, with this delay, we're gonna take it and turn it all the way off. We've got a high and low pass filter on this one also, and I do the same thing. I typically will cut some low end, usually up to around 200 hertz. Again, we don't want to build up that mud in that 200 hertz area of our mix. That's where the mud comes from. And I usually, to give it kind of an old school or more vintage sound, I use a high pass or a low pass filter on this, and I really take it down. I don't let anything above about 1,000 hertz get through. And what you'll notice here is that when we reactivate the delay, I'm going to set it at wet 100%. Now things are starting to sound a little more realistic, and we're going to bring that volume back again, just to get it just a touch of that delay into the effect bus. Okay, let's listen to what this sounds like with the music. What if I could say to you of what you wanted, what you could do? And what if I could say to you of what you wanted, what you could do? Okay. You listen to it all by itself, it's pretty wet, but you put that in a mix, and those effects become very quiet and very subtle, but they're there, and they help to add some energy to the song. So, using an effects bus is a great way, and I'm going to mute the effects bus. Using an effects bus is a great way to enhance your recording performance potentially, and to give your voice some liveness during the recording process. And also keep in mind that none of this stuff is being recorded. You're not committed to this. When you're recording, you typically will not arm this track to record, because that allows you still have the ability to turn that track down with a fader, turn it up, do some mixing of that track while you're listening back. So there, in a nutshell, is adding an effects bus to your project in Reaper for your vocals. And you can go crazy with this. Let's, on our effects bus, let's add a chorus effect. I've got, let's see, I'm going to go back up to this, and I'm going to go to air chorus. And we'll unmute this, and now I've got a chorus effect. And typically, again, what you'll want to do is you'll want to put your chorus effect before everything else or after the delay. And we want to make the mix 100%. And we'll bring this up. So now I've got a chorus effect on there. And I'll remove the chorus effect. Now the chorus effect is non-existent. We'll turn the delay off. Oh, got the air chorus turned off. We're going to turn off the... now I've got just chorus on my voice, and if I keep talking and kill that chorus, it sounds like this, and we can add some chorus, and it gives us a little bit of a thickness effect on that. Put some redelay on that, which I think is a little bit hot. I still would like to bring that volume down of that effect. Now you can do this multiple ways. We don't need a ton of delay on our voice. And what's happening here is that the delay taps are hitting this chorus and they're becoming chorused, but our original vocal track is actually dry with no effect. So it's kind of cool to use that in our effects chain. You can get crazy with this, whatever you choose to do with your effect. Again, let's listen to what this sounds like. I've got the effect turned up equal to everything else. Check. What if I could say to you of what you wanted, what you could do? Okay. So we've given you a little demo of that. Now let's turn off these effects going in. I'm going to turn off these input effects. So now I've got no EQ and no compression on my voice. And let's listen to what that sounds like. What if I could say to you what you wanted, what you could do? As you can see, if I hit it a little hard, I'm clipping that channel. If I turn these input effects on again, now we'll try that with the effects on, and I've got very good dynamic control. What if I could say to you, I'm getting right up on that mic, of what you wanted, of what you could do? Would you say to me you love me and I'm the only one? Would you say to me you love me and I'm your man? With those effects on the master vocal bus, it really helps the performance a lot. I can't express how important running a little bit of compression and EQ is, especially in an environment like this where you don't have a controlled sound-sealed room and all that shit. So consider using EQ definitely on the way in, and consider using compression on the way in. Now, you don't have to do that. You can put that stuff on your bus or on your vocal track post-recording, and that's fine and dandy. I like to commit to stuff like that because then I have a basis to work with from the very beginning of my mix. So there you go. There's a little bit of information about how to insert an effects bus, how to adjust those effects so that it sounds proper, and how to use them and mix them so that your song begins to sound great while you're recording. These can all be changed in the final mix. Keep that in mind. Everything can change aside from your printed effects that you've put on your vocal track. There you go. Peace, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the thumbs up.